So even though we could immediately go on to the next dungeon, I wanted to head back to town and see if they were finished rebuilding the police station, because there is a side quest available to us if the police station is intact, and now that it's been rebuilt, I'd say it counts as intact. I think this is one of the only ways you can see the top of the building if you get a scene like that when the building is finished with reconstruction. Kind of interesting. There's no way to jump that high, at least I'm pretty sure there isn't. Alright, so after getting the yellow refractor, you can go in the police station and talk with the inspector for the first of a couple police station related side quests. And this first one is actually kind of important to get right on the first go. You should probably save before getting it, in fact, because if you mess this up, you could lose 1 or 2 buster parts permanently. So, a kid with a yellow face, hint hint, nudge nudge, dropped 3 things downtown and we'd all better run or something. Yeah, maybe you could go and check it out, but... oh, of course, we're the protagonists. We're gonna handle it ourselves, even though you'd think it would be pretty important that the surfbots are committing terrorism. Yeah, no comment. I have no comment. Well, I'm gonna have comments as soon as we get down there. So, it turns out that the surfbot has planted 3 bombs in downtown, and you have to find 2 of them. One of them is just gonna explode immediately when you go in. As soon as the area loads. Yes, a bomb! Why was it just in the middle of the road? What are you trying to bomb? So yeah, your objective is to find the other 2 bombs before they explode. And if they do explode, you're on a time limit. If they do explode, then you lose those bombs permanently. Roll can make buster parts out of the bombs later on. So, it wasn't really hard to pick out this first bomb. I don't know if the positions are exactly the same every time, but the first bomb is always on top of a house with a green roof. Very easy to spot it if your eyes are keen. You can, like, see it from all the way across the street if you look very carefully. But the second bomb is much, much harder. It's hiding next to a house that is green. Not the roof, the house itself. The walls are painted green. The sides are painted green, rather. So I was looking all around for it, and I checked all of the houses that were green. Like, I see this one doesn't have it, so I just kind of started moving around a little more. And this is actually the hilarious part. Like, back when I was fighting Tron with a big octopus robot, one of the buildings got destroyed, and it's currently in the process of being reconstructed. So the bomb's not next to this greenhouse, it's not next to the other greenhouse, and it turns out that the bomb is next to the house being reconstructed. Yeah. Which means this house must be green, but because it's in the middle of being reconstructed, it doesn't look green at all. I mean, look at this thing. I guess that's kind of sort of green, but I would have never suspected that that was the house with the bomb next to it. So yeah, that was the most hilarious coincidence of all time, I think. I'm pretty sure the bomb positions aren't fixed, but, you know, I could probably just do the side quest again to see if that's true. And if it is true, then, you know, very big coincidence, I guess. Anyhow, we're going to develop all the items we have, including the bombs, and our new special weapon. The Zet Saber and the Penlight are used to make a freaking lightsaber. The Blade Arm is, it's a melee weapon, and, melee weapons in Mega Man tend to not be all that great. Unless it's like Mega Man X, because, Zero's pretty good to use. Also, I apologize for the sound. I guess Virtual Dub was having fun recording this, I guess. But it's no big deal. Anyhow, the Blade Arm can be upgraded, of course. You can actually upgrade the range of the Blade Arm, which seems silly, but it doesn't extend the length of the sword itself. It actually it actually creates this little projectile that shoots out from the blade when you slice with it. And it doesn't even cost that much. I'm going to use up all of my money just to upgrade this thing because I want to use it in the next dungeon. It does cost quite a bit to upgrade the range, but the energy and attack aren't that expensive. It costs about 40,000 zenny overall to make this thing maxed out. And that's, fortunately, I have all of the money I need for that. I'm left with only a little bit, but hey. I guess we could see if the sword weapon is going to be very good in this game. It isn't really. It has a couple uses, but, you know. Oh well. I suppose we should report back to the police station. Yeah, I initially thought that another side quest that you get at this building was going to open up after you clear this one, but it actually did not. So we'll have to wait a little longer for that. I just hope I don't have to dump all of the side quests in one big video at the end, because that would be silly. If the bombs do go off, by the way, it just means that the house gets destroyed and you have to pay to have that rebuilt. But since it's a residential building, it doesn't really matter all that much. You don't unlock any side quests or anything, I guess. Anyhow, we should see if those kids we got the pickaxe for are finished building their little house with a pickaxe. Maybe they're actually using the pickaxe. Ooh, I almost got run over there. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered much, but funny. Anyhow, you can see what the blade arm looks like. It's literally a lightsaber, because Capcom really likes Star Wars. Anyhow, we're gonna see what the house they built looks like now. Maybe they used the pickaxe to knock out part of the cliff there. That would have been interesting. But I can see that they get a new paint job. Evidently, they got paint without me. They added a little slope, so I guess wheelchairs can get in now. The inside's not quite there yet. A saw. You're already in the middle of building this thing, and now you need a saw? I came, I saw, I wish I sliced the trash can with my blade weapon. So yeah, as you can see, wow, this is actually really interesting. The projectile that the blade arm shoots does absolutely nothing to this trash can, but if the blade itself hits the trash can, then it flies open, and the birds come out. I have no idea what's going on there. So you can clearly see that the blade arm is not all that practical, because you stop moving in order to use it. It's very slow, and the projectile has like a literal hitbox. It's very picky about what it wants to hit, and when we get to the dungeon, we're going to see that happening a little bit. Anyhow, let's see, what was I thinking of just now? I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. Oh right, I was getting the saw. So you threw away a perfectly good saw, even though you had just used it? These guys are like, these side quests are getting a little strange. Anyhow, here's where I walk over to the police station, mistakenly thinking I can open up another side quest here. But I couldn't, so video editing teleport. We're back, we picked up the saw. It was in a... Wow, I should have shown where the saw was. Oh well, it's in a trash can downtown. It's like one of the ones that is empty at first, but then it suddenly has an item in it. I probably should have shown where it was, but whatever. More video editing teleportation. We're back in front of the dungeon at the lake now. Yeah, this video editing teleporting thing is... Okay, so we got two Buster parts. The bombs were made into Power Blaster L and Power Blaster R. The R1 gives you +1 rapid, and the L gives you +1 range. So I'm going to equip the laser and the auto battery for now, but the laser and the power, and either of the two Power Blasters really, that gives your Buster 6 attack, which is pretty high. And you could go with either +1 rapid or +1 range. I'd probably prefer range. A little range is nice, even though it's not that important a stat. But I'm sticking with the auto battery. Alright, subgate number 2. Water-themed, of course, because we're out on a lake. And lucky us, since Roll's busy on that boat, we don't have to listen to her talking at all, because she doesn't have any of her communications equipment.
Alright, Mega Man, let's get started. Surprise! I upgraded the support equipment to the boat. I should be able to activate spotter from here too.
Well, what an unpleasant surprise. She's gonna talk to us anyways. So right, you can see that the blade arm is not that good against these guys if they're going to shoot their projectiles at you. But with its attack maxed, it can take them out in 2 hits, which is actually pretty nice. The blade arm is also very good for energy. It's got a lot of uses in it. I presume it would have to be good with energy, because if you could only use a sword a certain amount of times, then it would just not be a very good sword. Says the Fire Emblem fanboy. I know. I suppose these enemies are actually taken out pretty easily with a blade arm if they aren't about to shoot. But you're still stuck in place. So if there are multiples of these guys, you've really got to pay attention to their projectiles. And that guy, he just ran into the thing. And it was kind of amusing that I got 2 hits off of a single swing of the blade. But hey, not bad. So this room has a cliff that you cannot get up to if you do not have the jump springs. So if you come here without the jump springs acquired yet, Roll will actually tell you to go and get them. Anyhow, that item is pretty important. The old hover jets, combined with a rollerboard we found earlier, makes probably the best item in the game. Well, it's the most fun item in the game. Alright, so in this room we have the Crab Reaver bots again. These guys are actually flipped over in a single hit by the blade arm, and even the projectile will do it, so that's pretty cool. But you can't really hit them with the blade arm again when they're upside down, because it'll just flip them right back up. Wow, I was just barely in the hitbox for that explosion. Anyhow, we have a starter key.
What did you find? From these readings, it looks like a starter key. That means there's probably a big retractor in here somewhere.
I suppose they didn't want to, oh, geez, this enemy is right next to me as I'm checking out the hole in the wall. You're gonna want to get away from me. Or just explode in my face as soon as I'm done with, Did he not notice Mega Man was there and thus didn't bother to explode until the dialogue thing was done? Oh yeah. What I just did there with the crab is that I held down the fire button while rapidly tapping forward. And geez, I'm getting hit by the explosions. I'm gonna do this trick again right here. This is called stutter shooting, and it's something that speedrunners use quite a lot. Basically, the rapid stat doesn't matter, because every time you inch forward, you cancel the firing animation of the buster. So you can really fire as quickly as you want, or as quickly as you can mash anyways. You can actually stutter shoot even faster if you hold one of the shoulder buttons down, I think. I'm not quite sure how it works, but the basic stutter shot where you hit forward a lot. That's a pretty good way to increase your firing rate. And if you have the auto battery equipped, then you can just like let loose as many shots as you want. If your enemy is static or not really reacting to you at all, you know, they're gonna go down really quickly. Nice way to multiply your firepower output.
Mega Man, what can you see up there? I'm not picking up anything on my monitor. I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Interesting. She doesn't see any of the Reaver bots in this room. None of the small flying ones. Also, this water does absolutely nothing. It doesn't make you jump higher or anything. I'm not even sure why it's there. But anyhow, this item is very important. It's one of the best items in the game. The joint plug. But it's guarded. It's guarded by invisible Reaver bots. Yes, apparently Reaver bots have figured out cloaking technology and have given the most annoying enemy in the game the ability to turn invisible. Of course, if you shoot them a couple times, the cloaking comes off. There are 2 cloaked Reaver bots in this room, and they actually can jump up the ledges to get up to where the doors are, or maybe they just started up there and like drop down in order to ambush you when you're not looking. So I believe that's the 3rd starter key. We found all 3 of them pretty quickly. This is actually a really short dungeon compared to the other subgates. At least it kind of feels that way. All the dungeons are a little short. Anyways, that hole in the wall has a lot of money in it. It's pretty worth going out of your way to get that one. Assuming you aren't like ignoring all the holes in the wall. I think you want to grab all the holes in the wall. Oh, in this room, this room looks awesome. It's like a Reaverbot aquarium, because you've got these fish Reaverbots in the walls behind the water, but those are the most annoying enemies in the game to deal with. I don't bother shooting at them. They're very hard to kill. It's because of the tight space, and those projectiles do a lot of damage. So yeah, let's avoid that for the time being.
Is there anything there? I'm not picking up anything on my radar.
Gee, this object couldn't possibly be suspicious at all, now could it? Considering it's right next to the room with the giant refractor in it.
If I'm reading this right, there's a huge refractor there. We should be able to repair the flutter with one that big.
Man, look at this game just tempting us with this giant refractor. And, okay, did I find a weak spot in the shield? Could we, in theory, just grab the shield, grab the refractor out of the shield? Oh, okay. That's how it works. What a weird hitbox. It's almost as if you could jump in, grab the refractor without lowering the shield, and then jump right back out. But no, we gotta lower the shield because... physics, I guess. It was weird how the shield didn't have a hitbox there. Yes, we've seen this before, and absolutely nothing is going to happen when we grab the refractor. Jeez, they're really hyping this up.
That's funny. No alarms or security devices? Be careful, Mega Man. I don't like the looks of this.
What do you mean you don't like the looks of this? Nothing happened in the other dungeon. Why would something happen in this dungeon? There are no traps to be had here, apparently. Ooh.
I'm picking up a Reaverbot signal. It came out of nowhere. It's a big one. The readings are going off the scale.
Okay, in all honesty, you're overhyping this boss. It's not that interesting at all, even though it does remind me a lot of a Transformer. Or that really old Tatsunoko property called Gold Lighten. It does kind of look like a cigarette lighter, doesn't it? Oh well, so there's not much to this boss. All it really has are two attacks. One, it will dive at you if you're far away, and if it gets too close to you, it will jump back towards the center and create that shockwave. Really not an interesting fight. The only other thing you've got to be aware of is that its hitbox is on its head, and it's a very tiny hitbox, so hitting it is very difficult with just about any special weapon. So you gotta stick to the Buster for this one. I demonstrated that you can't really hit him with a blade arm.
It looks like you damaged it. Keep it up, Mega Man.
Can Roll not see his life bar or something? Oh well. So I was trying to do... Apparently there's a trick to this boss where you can like shoot in the upper right corner of his hitbox and like consistently hit him there. Or something. Or like make him stagger a bunch. I don't know. I decided to change my Buster parts for more attack power so I could get this over with quicker, because honestly, when this guy dives and does that jump like one time, you've seen all of his moves. He doesn't have a lot of moves. Which is really weird, because you'd think he would do something with his arms. And he can't really hit me if I'm like all the way in the corner. Or maybe the arms are meant to hit you if you try and dive to the side, but you could just dodge roll at any rate. Anyway, I think this went on a little bit longer than I would have liked to. I wasn't able to figure out the trick with his hitbox, so I guess I'll have to ask somebody about that later. And we're about done. There we go.
I'm not picking up any Reaverbot signals anywhere. It looks like you got him.
He sure did drop quite a bit of Zenny, though. Alright, so the verdict on the blade arm, it's okay. It's just okay. And we have to walk out of the dungeon. Unfortunately, there was no convenient exit to the surface. I mean, in the other dungeon, the refractor was sitting right next to the elevator that goes out. And wow, was this guy standing on air? I didn't see. Well, he did manage to get all the way up here. Was he on air or something? Oh well. At least I don't have to deal with cloaked Reaver bots. They never use the cloaked Reaver bot ever again, which is kind of unfortunate. Mega Man Legends doesn't really have all that much difficulty unless you're on hard mode, and even then it's like only a couple of fights that are like really, really difficult. I have no idea why I'm killing this guy. Maybe I just wanted some extra money. Maybe that's why the dungeon is short, so you don't have to like backtrack a bunch in order to get out. No, this is not the correct way. That's a dead end. And all the Reaver bots are dead because I already killed most of them.
You must be getting hungry, Mega Man. I made some apricot pie. Are you up for a slice when you get back?
Apricots? What are apricots? Anyway, I was messing around with the elevator here because I was trying to figure out this one trick that lets you, like, turn on the elevator without actually being on it, and then it just looks silly, but I didn't figure out how it worked. So whatever. Okay, so another successful dungeon run. And with that refractor, we can finally fix the flutter. So maybe we can get off the island at last. Is it the end already? No, of course it's not the end already. This game's not that short. It's only been like 3 hours so far. Also, I accidentally just decided to load up my memory card again. I don't know why. It was an accident, yeah. Alright, so next time it looks like we're fixing a flying machine. Oh wait, a cutscene.
Okay, I'm fresh out of ideas. You know, what bothers me most is that while we're sitting here, he's out there digging up all sorts of stuff.
Calm down, Teasel. You're going to burst. He won't lead us to the treasure. No one will, as long as that big door is still locked. All we have to do is make sure we get rid of him before then. Right? So what if he digs up a few scraps here and there? He can keep that garbage.
You will regret those words.
Behind the main gate. Right, Teasel?
You know, you're absolutely right. Then that will be our new plan. We'll wait for him to open the main gate. We'll let him keep whatever he finds until then.
You're gonna regret that.
You'll see. It'll be the Bonds who have the last laugh in this game.
That's right.
I broke the fourth wall. Kinda.